All right. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Natasha, welcome to the interview. I would like for you to begin, please, by telling me a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this position.
Sure, absolutely. I'm currently working as an emergency management planner for a metropolitan health department.
Mm-hmm.
I do work closely with the hospital consortium. We have 35 hospitals within our community, and I really am interested in the hospital side of the preparedness. I've been working on the public health side, and we see that the hospitals have so many more different options and so much more that they can do directly for the patients that it's a little more challenging than public health.
Oh, good. Well, so nice to meet you, Natasha. My name is Jerry McGuire. If you have any questions for me.
Great, thank you, Mr. McGuire.
Sure. Let me ask you a couple of questions. What are your long-range career objectives?
For a long-range career objective, I'm actually interested in moving within the healthcare system. I do appreciate the flexibility that you have in the private sector. I know that you are a university hospital, but there is more flexibility I find in the hospital settings than in public health.
Right.
So what I would like to do is to eventually become the emergency preparedness manager for a large metropolitan hospital system.
Oh, that's very good. Well, I have to ask, with the recent goings-on in the news, what are your opinions about the Obama plan and the ruling and all of that sort of thing?
Well, I think we still have quite a bit to learn about what is going to happen. There are a lot of rumors and there's a lot of speculation, but we don't know what the real effect is going to be. So at this point, especially looking at the emergency management, is we really don't look at the same kind of concerns as, say, the direct patient care would. In our case with emergency management, because we're really focusing on taking care of everyone, regardless of they are actually ill or if they potentially can become ill. So it doesn't affect us as much. At this point, I'm really just waiting to see what happens and how things really work after the law is being implemented.
Good. What college subjects did you like best and least? Can you explain why?
Sure, Mr. McGuire. Some of the courses that I actually appreciated the most were classes that I was able to really practice public speaking, that I was able to get out in front of others and to really share ideas more than the classes that were more sitting at a desk by yourself working on numbers and figures. Although it's something that I can do, I really prefer the interaction much more.
Very good. What classes did you like least?
At least I wasn't crazy about statistics. I don't know if anyone is. But really, that type of classes, the statistics, the accounting, the finance classes, while I understand how important they are, especially when you're looking at budgeting, at grants, and that sort of thing, it really wasn't where my passion was.
Could you tell me about two strengths you think you have as a candidate and maybe one weakness?
Well, two strengths. I absolutely enjoy public speaking. I can go out in front of a group, and if you get me going, is I'll go ahead and I can train adults. I've had a lot of experience with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have had a lot of experience with writing plans, procedures, and implementing them through training. So those definitely are strengths, and especially with emergency management, that's something I've had a chance to work with quite a bit.
Good.
A weakness can be, and I learned this with the public sector, is I can be a little impatient as wanting to get things done.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons to look at the private sector as well, because things can move a little more quickly.
And how have you resolved dealing with patients' issues in the past?
Really, it's a necessity. So over time, I've learned that if you can't get something completed in the pace that you would like, it's to look at other options, is to be able to maybe branch out, take on another task while you're waiting for one to be completed. So it's an acquired skill.
Let me ask you an off-the-wall question. If you had to describe yourself as an animal in the workplace because of the animal's character or personality or anything you associate with that animal, what animal would you describe yourself as, and can you explain why?
Wow. say that we go with an elephant.
All right.
For one, the cliche is that they never forget.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're also sometimes underestimated. Is that they're very powerful, but they're very understated. They can get things done, and they obviously can take care of themselves. But it isn't something that you necessarily would imagine them as a threat or as really. They're in the background. They're huge, but they're kind of in the background. So.
Oh, interesting. Very good answer. Natasha, do you have any questions for us today?
Yes, actually, Mr. Boyer, I do. One of the questions I had is because this is an emergency preparedness position, and so much of the funding comes from different federal grants. Is this a grant-funded position, or is this a hospital position?
It is a grant-funded position. Do you have experience with grants?
I have. I've worked within grants, and I've participated in grant writing. The question, I asked the question because also what's the period for the grant?
It's the standard period.
Okay, great. And the only other question I had, I see that you are a trauma hospital. Are you part of the National Disaster Medical System as well?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So
Does that appeal to you?
It does. I've worked with them before in their emergency coordination offices, so I'm familiar with the system as well, and being the only trauma hospital.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Do you have other questions?
No, not right now. I do want to say congratulations on the U.S. News ranking. I know that that's no small feat being a large metropolitan hospital. I'm sure as you go through the process, more questions would come up, but right now I think I've got all the information that I need.
Oh, good. And yes, thank you for noticing that honor. We're all very excited around here about that.
I bet that's something to be proud of.
Very good. Well, here's where we stand now. This week we are interviewing our candidates, and next week by Monday we will call folks back, and you will hear from us then.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our interview. So you can go to discussion board and you can post comments and reactions. Natasha, how did you feel about it?
I thought it was pretty good. It's more comfortable than I expected, but the video it's a little bit strange because you're used to. It's better than a phone interview because a phone at least you can see the person. And
I've had a phone interview. I had a conference call phone interview with 6 people around a table one time, and it was very uncomfortable. Yeah. So, what about the Skype versus? I've never had to do a Skype interview in my career, so I've been fortunate. What do you think about a Skype interview versus a face-to-face?
I think I prefer the face-to-face because you also, especially if you have multiple people, it's easier to really be able to look at each person without wondering where the camera's aimed at them. On the plus side, though, is you can have your notes and you can have whatever's in front of you. If you're nervous and you want to have a stress ball and sit under the table, no one can tell. If you're on Skype versus if you're in real world.
Yeah, now I'm not a Skype connoisseur like you and Brian seem to be, but I noticed that you guys both, one of the questions I had, the movie-making instinct in me wonders, oh, well, where should you position? Should I be way back here? Should I be way up here, So it seems like you and Brian both have sort of a mid-range chest-up shot or shoulders-up shot. I guess, is that standard for most Skype calls or even for interviewing, would you think?
I would think so, because really that's the part, is you can get the idea if they're sitting up straight or not, even just for the shoulders. If I was sitting like this the whole time, you'd be able to tell. But I think this is just kind of seems comfortable because you're not too far away, not too close.
Oh, that's true. That makes sense. And you can fidget with your hands and nobody's going to see the truth.
Exactly, that's right.
So I've posed a few questions for the class to think about because I don't know all the answers. Like I say, I have some experience with interviewing, but not Skype at all. So I'm curious to know what other people think about it. Well, thank you so much.